Hey, 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 everybody. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me make sure that okay, you guys can hear me. Listen, guys, we're not going to be really long, okay? I just wanted to actually prove today whether or not I sent Carrie Ann after breaking the culture of silence, okay? That is kind of the newest story that Carrie has been telling everybody that hey, I'm sending her after break-in, that I was lying on break-in this whole time and all this other crazy stuff. Okay, so we're going to get into those things today. I'll tell y'all, I refuse to go back and forth with her over stupid stuff. Okay, like DNA tests and all this other silliness. We're not doing any of that stuff. Okay, it's clear as day that she is in a manic state. It's unfortunate. I really hate to see her like this, and I do hope that she gets better. But what I'm not going to do is get back and forth in this back and forth battle with her over things that we've never discussed, things that I've never said to her, things that she's just trying to reiterate that she knows breaking the culture said about me. Just so it can get under my skin. Because at one time, those things did really piss me the fuck off. I mean, let's be honest, right? I'm pretty sure everybody knows that just from the Vixen Chronicles and how I handled break-in, and why break-in is still crying about me today. But we're going to get into whether or not I actually did sick Carrie Ann on breaking the culture. Most people know that I don't even have that kind of personality, right? Where if I want to handle somebody or if I have an issue with someone, I have that issue with them, right? And I'm going to handle them the way that I want to, um, the way that I feel is best. And I'm not going to need anybody else to jump in it for me or help me with it or anything like that. I'm going to handle that person by myself, right? If you decide to get into something or if you decide to assist or whatever you feel like is an assistance, that's a different thing. But for me to just come out and like request somebody to be assisting me in kicking somebody's ass, I've never ever been that person. Okay. Not on the streets and not on the internet. Okay. Never been that person. So I definitely want to make that clear today. And how long this has been going on as well. Okay. Whether or not I was the one that requested her to do something for me for break-in, or whether or not she actually requested that from me. And I'm going to remind her today of the reason why, right? Because there's an actual reason behind this request, okay? Which I think is something that's very important at this moment to actually bring up. And the reason that I think it's important is because of the kind of trajectory of how this storyline is playing out, right? Um, I would hate to see sometimes I get carried away, aka Carrie Ann, kind of fall into it with the AFWs and allow them to completely destroy her at this point, right? But I also do want to talk about conspiracy theories a little bit too, because I think both sides of this story can speak to that. And so we're going to get into a lot of things this morning. Make sure that you guys do hit the like button on the way in. And let's go ahead and get started. I appreciate you guys coming in and piling in. And I will be speaking on your comments in just a moment. But let's go ahead and let's put on a timer real quick. Yeah, we're gonna do our drugs, okay? Since we all drug addicts out this bitch. Okay, let's go ahead. hmm Smoke a little weed for these niggas, okay? Because we drug addicts out this motherfucker, okay? Anyway, shout out to all of y'all that are in the clouds and everybody that is in the chat. Let me get that little cough out real quick. Hey, Clark, I appreciate you being in the building. Beautiful Bernice, I appreciate you as well. Dr. Steele, Definitely appreciate you being in the building. Mind Chaos Brew, you said, let's go being on camera, okay? With our hair done. With our hair done, okay? My hair ain't all over the place. I mean, I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't care, but at the same time, I do care because I care about my appearance. I care about me, right? I care about my well being, and it makes me feel good to have my hair done and to have, things don't going for myself and to be clean and to be in the tub and to have washed my ass. You understand what I'm saying? And, I also want to say this, okay? Y'all will never see me ever show y'all my medical records on anything, but I have $8,000 for anybody that can prove that I've ever needed to be tested for trichomonas. Okay, like I have that. Okay, like I got 8,000 for that. Okay, but other than that, I'm never showing anybody my medical records. I'm never going to be showing anybody DNA tests on my children, or birth certificates of my kids. None of that shit's ever going to happen. Okay, but I do got $8,000 for that. I also have $8,000 for every single time Carrie can show you guys any type of lifestyle or anything that she has actually changed for me. Okay, because like she said, she needed to breathe life into me. So if I have $8,000 for each time that she breathed something into me, okay, and she can prove that, I got 8,000 for each time. Okay, let's just, we're gonna put that out there, and then we're gonna move on from the 8,000, okay, that she so desperately needs to hold on to while she's unemployed. Okay. But either way, we're going to go ahead and move on. Hey, Triggs, I appreciate you being in the building. What's up, P? I appreciate you. And that is Dr. Prizzle, sir. Okay. Dr. Prizzle. That is my new name. Okay. As a matter of fact, we need to change that handle. It is Dr. Prizzle, guys. Okay. From now on. Appreciate you being in the building, P. He said, good morning to everyone. Everyone saying hi to each other. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. You said, first of all, why would you do that? Okay. I'm just saying, like, why would I be sending anybody after another grown ass woman? Like, I'm older than breaking. If I got something to say to that bitch, I'm going to say it to her. I had no problem saying it 3 years ago. I ain't got no problem saying some shit now. Okay. But I'm so tired of smacking breaking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I done buried her multiple fucking times over, with the truth. And, I don't feel like I need to keep doing that. At some point, it becomes, abuse of a corpse when you start continuously beating somebody the fuck down when you don't really have to do that. You see what I'm saying? It's not that deep. You said she's going to allow it, child. And that would be unfortunate if she did. Okay. But we're definitely going to remind Carrie today of the dangers of why she just might not want to get involved with these AFWs, right? Because I think she's forgotten, you know. I think that she has kind of forgotten what's happened here in the past couple of years and why she's in this situation she's in today, particularly being unemployed, and why these things are happening. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I'm not going to get all into everything. I do want to make some things clear, but I do feel like this is something that is worth talking about. There are some things that I don't feel like I'm going to be addressing with her, like I said, but this I definitely feel like is worth discussing. But I'm not going to call her and give her the satisfaction of that because that's honestly what she wants me to do. And I don't want to talk to her. I honestly don't want to talk to her, not in this state of mind. And even after she gets better, I'm still not sure if things would ever be the way that it used to be, right? If I would ever actually talk to her again like that. I might have one professional conversation with her, but other than that, I don't know, right? But either way, hey, Outlaw, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, P, can I review 5 minutes of your live today? And that was a good live last night, P. I did check that out. You said, amen. You said, y'all make sure to take care of yourselves. Garfield is an energy vampire. You said, hey, babies, I'm in a class sneak listening. Okay, no problem. You said hair did, nails did, everything did. My nails aren't, I haven't been doing my nails, guys. As a matter of fact, I'll show you guys this product that I had started looking into because of how expensive it is, right? To be always at the nail shop. And I know how to do nails, so I do have some dual forms here, right? I do have those. And then I also have an LED light for the nails if you want to do your thing. But I really want to use this stuff. It's called polygel. Let me see if I can focus it in. Okay, so it's called polygel. You guys can look it up, right? And I had thought about doing my own nails with these dual forms with the polygel. And I did it on my toes. It's perfect on the toes. But I tried it like on one finger and I didn't like the way I did it on the finger. So I'm going to try it again and see how it comes out. But I have like the whole set. So I've got that. I've got the solution. Hold on, where's the solution? I've got the solution. I've got several different colors for the polygels too. So I've got like pinks, I've got browns, I've got reds. So I've got this is the brown one right here. I've got reds. I've got all kinds of different colors, right? So what you do with it is you put it on the dual form, kind of the same way you do at the nail shop, and then you put that on the nail and you let it cure under the dryer light. And then once you pull it, you can pull the dual form off, and you can actually reuse these tips over and over again. That's the beauty of the poly gels, as opposed to using like the acrylics, right, or whatever they use at the nail shop. And it also has the same like solution. I'm looking for the solution. I got so many of these things. But here's the solution right here. So this is the solution for it. And you just mix that into the polygel and put that in. And it's the same thing as doing acrylics. And you can get all that stuff on Amazon. It comes with a top coat and a bottom coat as well. And then that's it. And then you can put color on it, but you don't really need the color because the polygel is already colored. Okay, so it's kind of comes with the color. You just choose whichever polygel you want to use. And you can get different ones. They have the kind with the glitter. They've got the kind that have the matte color, you know what I mean, and so forth. And I've got a matte finish too to put on top. So there's all different kinds of stuff you can do. So I've been like not getting my nails done at the shop because I want to do my own experiments with that. I've got an electric drill and all those things too, so it makes it kind of fun. But either way, you guys check that out if you want to. Maybe I can put a link to the polygel stuff in the description box, and you guys can go check that out and get you guys a little polygel kit and do it yourselves and save money, from going to the nail shop all the time. Because it's the same thing and it lasts just as long. And you can do the dip and everything else, all the different things that we do at the nail shop, you can do yourself. And save yourself a lot of money, and it's pretty fun too. And then if you got girls, you can do it with your daughters and stuff. That makes it fun too. All right. So anyway, you said, what is that? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see what you were saying. You said, oh, never mind. You said, hey, Bernice. You said, outlaw. I agree. Not that is definitely a block to enforce. You said, hi, Triggs. You said, notice Garfield continues to claim she is innocent, but keeps asking for smoke. If you try to understand her, she will make you crazy yourself. Exactly. And I hate to call her Garfield because I don't want to be saying that, right? That's not something I call her, but it's true. Like what you're saying is the truth. She will try to like bait you into a conversation with her that you just simply don't want to have, and you will drive yourself crazy trying to understand what she's talking about, And so with her, you got to kind of put a mirror to her face. You can't argue with crazy. You can't argue back and forth with, delusions. You just got to put a mirror to her face, you know what I mean, and show her what she actually said or what actually happened during the timeline, you know what I mean? And so yeah, that's just kind of how that goes. You said outlaw. I don't owe to her channel, so I don't listen to her which means I don't hear her, and I don't have to. That's true, right? And that's kind of like what I've done too. I've unsubscribed from her, but it's kind of hard to ignore her these past few days, right? And just not see anything because she's actually coming over to my channel too and, commenting. That's the reason why I put up the post that I put up yesterday, in regards to that. And that's unfortunate, that that happened. We're going to talk about that a little bit in just a moment. You said, I do not hear her. Right. You said, me either, Clark. Clark. He said, oh, I listen. I used to be in the mental health counselor, and her actions tell her agenda. She wants chaos and to claim she is better than others, and there's no reason for it, you know what I mean, because we're all strangers to her, including me. We're all strangers to her. We don't know each other like that, you know what I mean, for us to be, having this amount of emotions over, over people we met on the internet. I don't think it's that deep, you know. And I was really disturbed about her asking me to help her, make sure she takes her medications. I was very disturbed by that because, that's a really serious thing. That's a serious task to take on. And that's something that's deep. You know what I mean? I don't even know her medical history. I know a little bit of what she's told me, you know what I mean, which I wouldn't share. But other than that, I don't know enough to be deciding whether or not she has actually taken her medication or not. I can tell you with people I know who take medication, whether or not they've taken their medication, because I know how they act when they're not on it, right? I can tell how they act when they are on it. And so that's how I would know something like that. But I don't know her, you know. I don't see her on a daily basis, on a regular everyday basis to know, how she reacts to things and stuff like that. So I would never put myself in that position. You said, hey to Ray. You said, and Raw. Hey TMK, I appreciate you being in the building. You said just here to tell Pre to protect your neck. Black neck, that is. Okay. The black neck. Gotta protect the black neck. Okay. Gotta protect it. Okay. Shit. Jesus Christ, man. What's up, Cellulite? Appreciate you being in the building. You said, beautiful Bernice. You said, I'll listen to the reviews and commentaries. Okay. You said, I'm with you, Clark. You said, all that counseling and drugs, and she is even worse. All my clients who took the meds as they were told struggled more than clients who did counseling and lifestyle changes. So, I mean, that might be possible for some people that you have that experience with. I don't know if that's really something that everybody should do. And I don't know how and I hate to say dangerous, right? But I'm concerned with telling people black and white thinking when it comes to how to deal with mental health conditions, right? Because each person has their own way of dealing with it. Some people can deal with, very serious conditions by changing lifestyles and by not using the drugs and stuff like this. Other people really do need those things, right? And I don't know if I'm willing to just push the agenda that, lifestyle changes is the only way, or counseling and lifestyle changes is the only way, because there is no one size fits all when it comes to mental health conditions and all the different spectrums of mental health conditions that there are, all the various ways. Like there's different types of bipolar. There's bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and then I believe there's a 3, which is actually on the lines of personality disorder. And then there's so many other spectrums. So I'm not a professional. I know that you have worked in the mental health field before, and I don't want to take that from you. But I hate to put her in a box, or other people who have mental health conditions in a box, and expect that this is the only way that, things could be resolved for them. I don't know about that. And I would hate to say that. But shout out to you. And again, I respect your expertise as well. Hey, make a change. I appreciate you being in the building. You said sounds good. Hey, Joe, appreciate you being in the building. Hey, YM, I appreciate you being in the building as well. And everybody's saying hi to each other. You said Joe Do Not Care Club is here and present. Okay, child. And I definitely did vote on the do not care and the absolutely don't care. I wanted to have that part of the section. So if you could start that part, I'm over there, okay, in the absolutely do not care section. Okay. But it is what it is. You said she put up a poll about me. I did see that poll, and I want to discuss that a little bit too. I think that's crazy. You said I'm chat polar. Okay, chat polar child. You said, P, do you remember a really long time ago I was trying to advise you not to get pulled in? You definitely did. You definitely did. Hey, YouTube Unfolded. I appreciate you being in the building. Okay, so where do we begin today, guys? Where do y'all want to start? Um, I think I want to go with my message from yesterday first, right? Um, I want to like make sure I highlight that because like I said, I really don't have any intentions of going back and forth with Carrie Ann, right? When I had blocked her that time on the phone, I really had intended to leave her alone. I really didn't want to talk with her anymore after that. And it would have stayed that way if she let it happen that way, right? But unfortunately, she didn't. Unfortunately, she wanted to continue to go on and continue on and on and on until I had to actually block her, right? And so here we are today, and she has, continued to play the victim, continued to act like, somebody has done some horrifying things to her behind the scenes. The people have attacked her. And shout out to Divine Seven, okay? Because I was going to take the time this weekend to put the timeline together of what really happened between me and Carrie Ann, right? And this particular time around. And whether or not I had, been the one that had attacked her, that I had done all these things to her, you know what I'm saying? Because there were these trolls that are in her chat. Shout out to the white man. There's a couple others. There's a Black Pearls, and I speak to Black Pearls sometime. Excellento. I speak to Black Excellento sometime. I don't know if so much Excellento is trying this on purpose, but we're gonna talk about these trolls, okay? These faceless people who we never hear from, who don't hit panels, they just kind of come around and they agitate the chat, you know what I mean, and so forth and so on. Um, so it was them, it was fuckery unlimited, it was an actual factual, right? And these people are like really in Carrie's chat, like really egging her on, having her thinking that she's being attacked and that people are talking about her mom and her family and all these crazy things, right? And I'm like, huh. So I did a little bit of research because I was told that these people are generally, and shout out to Steph, she was talking about this last night. So, we had heard that, these people were over in Photon's chat room and they were cheering him on every time. And when Stargate is talking about Carrie, these very same people are in the chat room over there talking about, Carrie, right? And I'm like, let me see if that's really true. So I went over to Photons and some of the many videos that he still has up. Because y'all remember, there was a time when Photon was taking all his videos down. Well, he hasn't been lately. He's been keeping his videos up pretty good, okay? And I don't have any screenshots or anything because I didn't take the time to do that. But you guys can go and look for yourselves. These very same people were just a few weeks ago in Photon's chat talking shit about Carrie, okay? And like every time, Star wants to go in on, Carrie Ann, and Photon is going in on Carrie Ann. Here are these very same trolls, the Fuckery Unlimited, Black Pearl, um, actual factual, all these people are over there in the same space doing the very same thing. Now y'all can go look for yourself. I'm pretty sure Carrie has seen them herself because she goes over there often and listens to Photon, with whatever they're trying to say. So I'm pretty sure she would be able to go over there and see this for her damn self, okay? But I thought that that was just nuts, okay? And it's the fact that it's only those people that keep trying to get her to crash out over this and have her thinking that, somehow she's being attacked and people are coming for her and people are doing her dirty and doing all this shit to her, right? So it's like, okay, let's see what happens. So ultimately, all this has been panning out in front of all of us, right in front of our face, okay? Here's the thing. I knew that she needed to have somebody put a timeline together for her because that's what happened to me and her in the past. When me and her had fallen out years ago, I had to put together an actual timeline to show Carrie Ann how we actually fell out. That it wasn't me, that I didn't just come and attack her or any of this shit, that it was actually her that came from me. And then I attacked back. Okay, now at the time, I was a lot more harsh. I was coming at bitch's neck a lot motherfucking more. And, I definitely did want to slap fire out of her ass at the time. Okay. At this point in my life, I'm not there. I'm not trying to be on that bullshit. I can be on that bullshit, right? I can definitely go there, but I try to reserve that for times that is absolutely necessary. Okay. Because I'm getting older, honestly. Okay. My health, I don't want my health going down. I don't want to be having heart conditions and issues because I'm out here angry and pissed the fuck off all the time. I don't have time for that. You understand what I'm saying? So I would rather take care of myself. And part of my self-care is not being angry and pissed off and moved to anger every single time somebody says something that makes me mad. Okay. And I've been doing a damn good job at doing that. And I'm going to keep doing that. But sometimes, like I said before, you got to slap a bitch back to reality. Okay. But there's ways of doing that without violence, right? There's ways of doing that without really getting angry and nasty. There's ways of doing that without dragging somebody for filth, right? And so, I've learned how to do those things, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. So, anyway, let me look at y'all comments real quick, and then I'm going to get into what I read yesterday and some of what Divine Show was about as well. Let's see what we got. Okay, we already talked about the Do Not Care Club. You said, see, and the trouble begins. You said, YouTube unfolded, tell your friend yes. You said, Joe, karmatic debt will always be a funny meme to me. You said, did I miss the timer yet? No, I'm not playing timers because I'm not paying for StreamYard. Y'all got me fucked up. No, honey, I don't go live enough to be on here, paying $50 a month to be on here like that. So I'd have to like add all that back and everything, and I'm not doing all that. What's up, Knowledge? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, damn, Tpri and Carrie got smoke again. Child, yeah. She got smoke with me. I got smoke with her. You said, thank you, P, the panel killer, for the prompt answer. I shall pass the answer on. You said visuals, karmatic. You said YouTube unfolded anytime. You said, oh, look at P working behind the scenes, child. You said Clark. You said Ray Triggs. I see you, sir. Let me turn on the laser to light you up. You said, good morning, beautiful Bernice. Okay, so you all are just speaking to each other. You said, Triggs, not me. I'm in the dark. You said, YouTube unfolded peace and blessings. You said, harsh child. Listen, you said, Carrie tried to gaslight P, pretending she didn't lie on his panel. Exactly. You said she thought she was slick. I don't know why she thinks everybody can't see through this. You know what I mean? That's the sad part about this is that she honestly can't see her bullshit. Like she can't see that everybody else can see her bullshit. You know what I mean? Like that's just what's the crazy part about it. She thinks that she's able to, you know, talk her shit enough and everybody's just going to go with that. Like we're in high school or something. Girl, we grown. We grown as almost in our 50s. Some people are in their 50s. Some people around here in their 60s. Like what's going on, girl? You say, yep. You said harsh is the 2025 word like kerfuffle. Okay. You said, Joe, that was funny. You said, Ray, harsh and dry. You said you missed this comment, posting it again because I see you. You said, Tpri, you are clapping back on cam. Love it. Okay, honey. Because my hair is done. I'm not laying on no dirty ass couch, okay, or anything. Okay, pussy clean, okay. But I ain't about to show none of you niggas because I ain't fucking none of you niggas, okay. But yeah, I mean that's just what it is, okay. But I do got $8,000 for anybody that can prove I ever needed a trichomonas test. Okay. 8,000. I'll put it on 9,000. Okay. For anybody that got a trichomonas test in Tpri's name. Okay. We'll go there. And that whole challenge will be done. You said, VS, I have you blocked in my head. You said, yay. Okay. He said, "Howdy, what's up?" Think first, I appreciate you being in the building. All right, so we're all in here. I think everybody's got their comments in. Okay, guys. All right, so I'm telling y'all, I was just so flabbergasted with the fact that this bitch decided to show her medical records to the sector. And to this moment, I honestly don't know how anything led up to that. I barely listened to the full video when Carrie Ann goes live now. Okay. It's been a while actually since I have listened to Carrie Ann's full videos. Okay. It's probably been a year or so because she's been kind of on a crash out for a minute. But either way, when I do listen to her videos, I tend to fast forward through it. I don't got time to sit there and get myself agitated over her saying stupid stuff about kids and all this other stuff. I don't have time for that. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through and see some of the things that she did. And I particularly will do that once I've been told about it, right? So once y'all started saying that this bitch was sharing her medical records, I was like, get the fuck out of here, right? So I went over there and looked, and all I saw was I saw a screenshot of the marijuana level and cocaine levels and stuff like this. And I was like, why is she doing this? Well, because I think she thought, based off of what the trolls were telling her, that I said that Carrie Ann is a drug addict. I've never said anything like that. I never said anything about her being an alcoholic or any of that shit. What I did say is that Carrie sometimes self medicates with weed, and she has admitted that to the sector years ago. This was back in 23, and she does self medicate with alcohol sometimes. Sometimes she prefers a little vodka. You know, it could be a little wine, it could be different things like that. But she also knows um, she can't she can't mix the two. So she can't have her medication and a drink at the same time. I didn't say she drinks every day. I didn't say she drinks every other day. I didn't even say she drinks every week. What I said is she sometimes will self-medicate, and she will mix, instead of having her medication, she will have a drink or something like that. It also depends on what she's doing, right? So for instance, Blue does exist, guys. And she was going out with Blue, and she would go and have a drink with Blue, right? Or something like that. So on those nights, she wouldn't take her meds. I can't tell Carrie to take her meds or not to take her meds. She's a grown ass woman. If she wants to go out here and drink instead of taking her medication, that is going to be something that's going to affect her, right? That doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my household. It doesn't affect my life. So what am I honestly supposed to tell her, right? But at the end of the day, these are the stories that she would told me. As long as I know Blue exists anyway. Now I haven't had any reason to believe that he doesn't, other than the fact that I know Carrie does lie from time to time. But other than that, I don't really have a reason so far to believe that he doesn't exist. And, these are things that she was telling me about in regards to a drink, right? Other times she might have a drink as if she just feels like being comforted, hanging out one night. It was a couple weeks ago when I was talking to her, I was having a drink, and she said she was going to have a drink too. And we decided to have, I was having wine, she was having some wine, and we were discussing the stuff that was happening in the sector, right? Um, that's just a prime example. Again, she doesn't say to me, I'm not going to have my medication tonight. I'm going to have a drink, right? But she definitely will have the drink. But she has told me about her not taking the meds if she does have a drink because she can't mix them, which is obvious. She can't mix those types of things together. Okay. That doesn't make her an alcoholic. That doesn't make her a drug addict, right? It just means that at times this is how she chooses to cope with things. But unfortunately, Carrie's situation, and I don't think anybody's situation that has a mental health condition, if you are taking psychiatric medication and psychotropic drugs, you cannot stop and go with those drugs. You have to keep taking them. Okay, unless your doctor weans you off of them. And usually they do it in dosage, right? So if you're taking Seroquel, for instance, you might, if you're taking, I don't know what the milligrams are for that, but if you're taking 1 milligram, right, of Seroquel, they might, drop you down to a half a milligram until, you're weaned off completely, or whatever. But you can't just not take it, You know what I mean? You can't just, go for days not taking your meds, or you go today and don't take it, and then tomorrow you don't take it, and then 3 days from now you take it, and then you take it next week and all this. Of course, you're going to be psychotic and manic and all over the place, because the medication is not meant for that to happen. Okay. So that is kind of, where I was saying in regards to that bullshit. I never said she was a drug addict or anything like that. However, the trolls like Fuckery Unfiltered and Actual Factual and those people who were just over in Photon's chat talking shit over there, they got this bitch thinking that shit. Okay. And now she's just going off and going on to all these crazy things that she just doesn't have to. Okay. But she's choosing to, because, she's just not willing to listen to anybody else. Okay. Had Carrie been listening to what's been going on in the sector, like everybody else in the sector has been, she just might not be in this situation, right? She might not actually be going through what she's going through right now. But Carrie is so hard headed, and she just, once she gets stuck on her being right, she's just going to be right. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be what it is. And that's unfortunate for her. Now, I'm going to read what I had posted yesterday, because, like I said, I was shocked that she would actually, do something like that to herself by showing everybody her medical records, trying to stunt on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you better show your pussy records and show this and see how many baby daddies you got and all this other weird shit, right? But yet, when you try to dig a grave for one person, you end up digging a grave for yourself. Okay. And then this is how this actually worked. Okay. Because I had no idea about it. I knew about it. I had saw what she posted on her community wall, but I never went and looked at the actual video itself. Shout out to Raw B. Okay. Because she broke it down what Carrie Ann was showing y'all in these medical records, having no idea that that's what she's actually showing y'all, trying to stunt on me. Okay. And so this is what I said, because Carrie, all manic depressive, comes over to my chat yesterday, over to my comment section for the comment that I had posted the day before. And she says, "You commented on my post and then came over here posting about it. So when did you stop wanting to go back and forth with me exactly? What part of me saying Triggs said Nikki was talking about you required you to talk about my medical business and my mother? What part of that made you need to tell lies about me and my family to the sector?" So I started to like send the message to the comment right there that she said. But I said, you know what? No, because I don't want this to become a personal conversation between me and her, right? I don't want to open the door to her thinking that I want to open up a personal conversation with her at this point. Not right now. I don't, right? As long as she is in this state of mind, I have no intentions of having any kind of personalized conversation with her that no one else notices or no one else can see, because you kind of need, an audience when you're talking to her right now. Okay. Because if you don't, then unfortunately, she's going to twist words and turn words and make things sound the way that she wants to make them sound. And that's what her intentions were, even the other day when she had made the post about she couldn't understand, and she's going to walk away from the sector in peace because she couldn't understand why I didn't have this conversation with her privately. When it's clear that I did have this conversation with her privately. But again, because she doesn't watch anything, because she doesn't, notice what everybody else notices, that is the reason why she was saying what she's saying. So I said to her in response to that, okay, let me help you out, Carrie. Nobody has told the sector about your medical records except you. See, now the sector knows how many times you needed a pregnancy test, how and what types of medications you take, why you need trichomonas testing, rashes and itching you experience, missed medication doses, social worker commentaries, and everything else. Okay, we're not even talking about the USD4, lab tests you've had to have done, the HIV lab tests you've had to have done. See, somebody, Carrie, who has been walking around telling the sector that they're not fucking at all, right? They're not having sex with even dildos, okay? They're not even, they're not fucking anything or anybody. Nothing is going in their pussy. I can understand the pregnancy tests because of the medications you take. See, those doctors, before they prescribe that to you, they are required by law to make sure that you're not pregnant, okay? Because those types of medications can cause actual birth defects, okay, and so forth. And so they can be held liable and you can be held liable if you actually got pregnant on those types of medications. So the pregnancy tests, I get it, right? But all the HIV tests and the trichomonas tests and all these sexually transmitted disease tests that you're getting while you're claiming you're not fucking anybody, I, I mean, who needs the $8,000 challenge here? Because clearly you're the one with all the itching and all the rashes, okay? And all the missed medication doses, right? And all these other things and all these other health conditions to the point where you need a USD4, you need these types of things because I had to look into what type of testing that was, right? Come to find out, this is testing for a multitude of health conditions. You understand? Things even could go as far as Alzheimer's disease and other battery testing that this is, because that's exactly what that is, a battery test. Okay. They wanted to find out what is going on with you, what is actually wrong with your health. Okay. So while you're asking people about my health and asking people about my black neck, my beautiful neck, and all that stuff, and my children, and my pussy, and all these other things. You're out here showing us your medical records while you getting trichomonas tested, and you supposed to be celibate, huh? While you getting HIV testing, right? While you getting tested for chlamydia, while you getting tested for all these diseases, but you're celibate. So none of these drugs that you take, okay, that you showed us you take, because I did the research now. None of these drugs that you take require you to have an STD test. They require you to have pregnancy tests, right? Because they need to make sure you're not pregnant. That's by law. They don't care whether you tell them you're celibate or not. And even then, sometimes a doctor can make an exception. We can look it up based off of what you tell them, right? About your own health. But if they don't trust you and you live in this very risky lifestyle, right? Now they out here giving you all these HIV tests and chlamydia tests, and you getting all these tests for somebody who's not even putting a dildo in your ass. And you think we that slow? Hmm. Listen, baby, like I said, while you out here trying to dig a grave for me, okay, and my pussy, you need to be checking your own backyard, okay? You need to be shaving down those cobwebs on that coochie and checking your own backyard, okay? Because there's something very wrong with somebody at the age of 47, right? Who claims to be a celibate woman and have been celibate for years, right? And this was last year. This wasn't this year when you were fucking blue. This was last year, right? Claim to have been so clean that you're not sleeping with anybody, but and that you questioning up under other people's clothes. You want to know what they pussy look like and smell like while you're out here telling everybody you haven't taken a bath on a Sunday in years, right? All of that, and you're out here taking tests for the leakage. You got leakage coming out your shit. Okay. You got lesions and leakage and rashes and itches coming from your pussy. Okay. According to your own medical records that you showed to us. Now, I don't want to drag you, sweetheart, over no shit like that because it clearly shows that something is mentally wrong with you for allowing us to have that troll food like you gave us, right? But at the end of the day, don't play with me. Don't come for me, okay? Cuz I'm not coming for you. I just simply didn't want anything to do with you. That's it. There's something very wrong with a person who's willing to call a stranger on the internet and say, "Can you make sure that I'm taking my medication every day?" It was very clear that that's what you said, and it was very clear what my answer was. And it was very clear that you were aware of how offended I was with that because of how you tried to manipulate that. You know that that's what happened. But here's the thing, right? This is how easy this is for you. If I'm such a fucked up bitch, I'm so god awful. I'm on drugs. I'm this terrible person, this terrible mom, terrible grandmother, all these things. How hard is it to just block me like I did you, right? And leave me alone? You know why? Because it's not any of that. That's why. It's because your ego is hurt. Your feelings are hurt because I won't go back and forth with you because I have not allowed you to attach yourself to me. That's what you're upset about. But you know what? You've embarrassed yourself to the sector because the sector didn't even have to know about this. They know it because you told them. Just like you told them about your medical history. You told them about your leaking pussy, right? You told them about the chlamydia tests and the HIV scares and all these other things that you're having at 47 years old, right? With no kids, right? But yet all these pregnancy tests, we ain't gonna talk about the pregnancy tests. The pregnancy tests, I can give you that just from the medication. I did some research on that. But as far as these these other tests, they're not required for your medication. You only get those types of tests when you're out fucking all the time, right? Or when you think your partner is out fucking all the time, right? That's is one of the two. You don't just get out here and just suddenly have, maybe HIV, you can get HIV from other ways, but you only get trichomonas one way. You only get chlamydia one way, okay? So if you're not fucking like you've been telling everybody, then you would have no reason to be taking all these types of tests. But see, I don't have a reason to be out here getting HIV tests and chlamydia tests and trichomonas tests every 3 months. You're doing that, okay? According to your own medical history that you showed us and that you openly talked about. Shout out to Divine again for showing the timeline. Make sure that you guys do go over there. If one of my mods can put the link to Divine's show in the chat, that way we can everybody can go over and check that show out, and make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to her as well. That way you always know when she is live, because she be going live and she be always having those great shows. Triggs is also having a show tonight. Make sure that y'all put a link to Triggs show in the chat room as well. That way everybody can go over tonight. I believe tonight is the pre-wake show for Carrie Ann's funeral. The funeral will be on Monday, okay? I will be in attendance with bath salts and chicken. Okay. And that's what we're going to do. I got all types of bath salt flavors and stuff for you. Whatever you want, we got all that. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do that. I got the fried chicken for you. Okay. That's going to be down in the basement. Okay. Everybody gets a free bath. Okay. That's what we doing out this bitch. And we going to go ahead and keep it popping. Anyway, let me finish reading what I was saying yesterday. And then I want to get into Divine Show. And then we're going to get into these messages. And then we're going to end the show. So I said, how many times you needed a pregnancy test? How and what types of medications you take? Why you need trichomonas testing? Rashes and itching you experience, missed medication doses, social worker commentaries. I couldn't believe she showed that shit. And everything else in between. You should check out Raw B's latest live stream highlighting how much you exposed about yourself and your doctor's office, the phone numbers and all. See, this happens when you try to dig a grave for someone else without checking your own backyard. Sad. As far as talking about your mother, Carrie Ann, as far as talking about your mother, pull up a seat, Carrie, because I want you to hear this. I have never said anything bad about your mother. I've never even said anything good about your mother. I've never said anything about your mother. No, you're so worried that I'm going to say something about your mother. You're going to beat me to it. That's what's going to happen. Because I haven't said a damn thing about your mother. I don't talk about your mom. I don't talk about your dad. I know things about both of them, but I'm not talking about them. For what? For what reason? No. You have fear that I'm going to talk about your mother. Your fear of me talking about your mother to the sector has overwhelmed you so much that you're attacking me over it. And I have never said a damn thing about your mother. It's funny because if what I'm saying isn't true right now, sector, ask yourselves, why would she go straight to you're lying about my mother? See, everybody has been as confused about that as I was, right? Everybody has been as confused about this, trying to look for where I said something about her mother, trying to go to a certain space to see if I said it here. Did I say it on Divine Show? Did I say it on Pill Show? Where did I say something about her mother? So the next time you trolls get in her chat, ask her, can you play where Tpri said anything about your mother? Because I guarantee she won't be able to. But she can tell you how fearful she is of me telling you about her mother. I have no intentions of doing that. Unless she elaborates. And you know what? Even then, that's not my story to tell. But I'm pretty sure before this is all said and done, she's going to blame this on me and say, you know what? I'm going to tell you before she does. But just know, you hearing from me, I have no intentions of talking about this woman's mother. Because again, that's not my story to tell. I don't know if anybody's parents are perfect though, right? I think everybody's parents, including us as parents, have made mistakes with our children. But I don't think that most of us as parents aren't redeemable as parents. That's subjective to the child, right? Who was raised by the parent. But I don't think most of us are not redeemable as parents. But again, that's not my thing. That's not my go to, you know. when I want to point out something to somebody or when I want to talk to somebody. I don't use the things that they've said to me or the things that I think may really hurt them, you know, to try to come at them. There's no reason to do that. So, you hearing from me. I would never attack Carrie Ann over her mother. No, Carrie, you've allowed yourself to be trolled from the trolls into believing that your mother was talked about because you mentioned it. See, you get on here and you start telling everybody your fears. Your mom, your dad, no fear in your heart for Tpri. All these things that nobody is saying. But you're the one that keeps telling us your fears. And when you tell us your fears, the trolls feed your fears. And they tell you exactly what your fears want to hear. And then you act on it. And you've been doing it every single day. Every day. And night, too, by the way. Sad. As far as P, right? Shout out to P. He had a really good show yesterday. You know, I like how the guys sometimes would like to see the women get into the ring, you know, and go back and forth with each other a little bit. And they'd like to see a little matchups and meetups and stuff. And one of the funny things they said yesterday was that they would like to see Breakin and Carrie match up together to go against me, right? Which would be that would be a hell of a force. It really would. That shit would be pretty fucking funny. I mean, I'm not really worried about it, you know what I mean? Because I mean, it wouldn't be hard to body both of these bitches, but I've already bodied one of the bitches already. You know, Carrie Ann, I don't know if I would need to body her. She's bodying herself, you know. So, you know, and Bray can be bodying herself too. Um, but either way, I thought that would be kind of funny, right? To kind of see them two kind of match up together and start hanging out and doing shit, right? But before I get into that, I want to talk about how P was handled, right? Because P is being handled right now, kind of how every single one of us have been handled. Okay. See, anybody that gives Carrie any kind of pushback or says anything to her about her behavior or tells her or explains to her how the behavior that she's displaying is not normal, right? That's when she goes off. She wants to blame you. She wants to point fingers at you. She wants to tell you how wrong you are. She wants to play the victim, right? And so it's funny how this just keeps playing out with every single person. Every person who gives her any kind of pushback. It started, well, it didn't start with me, but let's just start at that point of reference, right? Just back in a month ago when I told Carrie, it was almost a month ago now. When I told Carrie, I just simply don't want to be brought up in your beefs. And in me telling her that, it went from me attacking me, not me telling her that, to me attacking her behind the scenes, to me getting paid to work with Ray Triggs, right? Which is a ridiculous conspiracy to begin with. But me getting paid to work with him, me working with him to take her down. I'm not sure what I'm taking her down from. I'm not sure why I would be working for this man. You know what I mean? I don't really get the whole thing. But it always ends up being whenever somebody has a, an opinion about her that's not favorable to what she wants you to think, it somehow is something wrong with you, right? It's got to be something. It can never be she's just wrong. It always has to be somebody else's external reason for why they are telling you this. It's never that there's actually something you're doing wrong. It's never that it's actually something that you're actually saying, right? It's always, 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 literally always somebody else's fault. all the time. So P, I wouldn't even take it personal if I was you. I would take it like a grain of salt, let it roll off your back, because this is literally what she does to everybody. And it plays out in front of everybody. Nobody has to lie on that. Nobody has to make up anything about it. Nobody has to pretend and tell her anything or say this to one and say that to another. It shows right in front of everyone. She does it to everybody every single day. She just did this to Stephanie the other day. Stephanie, used some actual critical thinking, right? And said something about it. And she couldn't take it. She couldn't take that she cannot manipulate you into believing what she wants you to believe and what she wants you to think, despite what you see, despite the evidence you're being told, or anything. So I would take it as a hey. It is what it is, right? This is unfortunately some serious mental flaws that this chick has. And yes, he did. P definitely stood on business with that. And I respect that. I appreciated that. And I thought that that was great. That you decided that you weren't going to allow her to do that. Let me get into y'all comments real quick, and then I'm going to get into the final part of the final leg of the show. Um, Hold on, let's see. You said, hey, Joe. Well, I talked to you. You said Carrie's doctor needs to tell her why them periods aren't coming like they used to. That time has passed, Miss Moose Knuckles. No. Yes, confirmation bias, right? It's like when those trolls get in the chat, the same chat they was in Photon's chat just a couple weeks ago. They're in her chat. They're literally trying to tell her exactly what she's feeding us as her fears. She's telling us what her fears are, and then they're running right with the fears, and they just want her to just crash out on those fears, and she's been doing it, and it is so embarrassing. Like I have literally secondhand embarrassment for her. That is so sad. Like nobody needed to know that your coochie was stinking like that, girl. Nobody needed to know that shit. Yeah. You said every morning, afternoon, evening, the midnight hour. Child, just say it, right? You said Joe don't think she is not listening to her doctor. I don't think she is either. You said that would be hilarious if that happened. Anti would definitely lose her mind. Child. I don't know. We're going to talk about that in a second. We are definitely going to talk about that because I got to remind some people of the history of these two, because I think she just doesn't remember. You said all mothers in the sector are redeemable. Some kids likely benefited from getting left in Ohio. You said, is it me? But why is Breaking trying to go at women old enough to be her teen mom? Okay, child. What girl? You said, Joe, don't think she is listening to her doctor. You said, Prizzle, I'm used to it with Carrie. Yeah. And y'all have had a history of that. What's up, Shakim? Appreciate you being in the building. You said, let me subscribe. You said, Clark, it sounds like it. You said, Shakim. You said, P, you need to return Carrie's $500 ASAP. I will put my Cash App in the chat. Hey, beautiful. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, take her down now. That is hilarious. I mean, it's like taking her down from what exactly? Like, oh, so. Let's talk about this conspiracy theory thing, right? It's like, okay, so they got this whole idea that Triggs is running all these women behind the scenes, and that we're all just like going with some. I really don't understand what the conspiracy is. You know what I mean? But allegedly, my family and Trig's family all know each other. This is Breakin's conspiracy, right? That my family and Trig's family, they all know each other, and we're all working together as some kind of cabal family, and we're taking down irrelevant people on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't understand. You know what I mean? But man, listen, I wish my mom would ever have a conversation. I wish Breaking the Culture would ever prove that she's ever had a conversation with my mother. Just because you know her name, because you decided to dox my mom, right? And you decided to dox my daughter and dox my family, doesn't mean they've spoken to you. Okay? Girl, bye. Go by. Again, these are the fears that these bitches have, okay? See, Breaking is so afraid of the actual truth that I do have about her mother, okay? And that coming out, that she doesn't want, she wants to get ahead of this and scare me, I guess, into never speaking on her mother. Sweetheart, stop the cap, okay? You have never had a conversation with my mom. My mom, just because you know her name and you're telling everybody her name, doesn't mean you have ever spoken to her. And I dare you, I got $8,000 for you, okay? If you can prove it. Not you just saying it, not you making up some splicing and dicing some shit. No, prove that you've actually spoken to my mom, okay? And we will go from there. I got $8,000 for you. We got the $8,000 challenges going on. I got that for Breaking, okay? Like I said, for Carrie, I got $8,000 for her. If she can prove she has changed and improved my life, I got $8,000 for every single thing that she has improved in my life. And for Breaking, I got $8,000 for the conversation she had with my mom. Okay, we gonna go from there. Anyway, let's go ahead. But yeah, we taking these bitches down, me and Triggs. Okay, and like I said, I don't really understand the whole idea of this conspiracy. It's like, how much am I getting paid? Right? I haven't got paid yet, but how much am I supposed to get paid for this? What exactly am I taking you down from? Right? Um, what exactly were you doing that was so important that we need to remove you from? Right? Like, these are the things that are going through my head because I'm like, what is this? Right? Like, and how do you explain this to anybody in the real world? Like, imagine telling somebody this story. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, yeah, what? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I honestly don't. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about either. Okay. And I'm gonna need y'all to get this shit together. But stop with the conspiracy theories, y'all. Like, for real, because this shit is crazy, right? Like, I even kind of get why the AFWs feel some way about those conspiracies about them. You know what I mean? Like, about, anti being this secret agent that's taking everybody down. And it's like, once you listen to her and listen to her on these panels and how fucking of a nut job she is, that all kind of goes away. That whole mystery of this AFW bullshit literally goes away, right? And the whole conspiracy theories of her being this powerful entity that is willing to destroy these people who nobody knows lives. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, yeah, she was trying to do shit like that, and her ideas of grandiose, and her, ideologies of manic bipolar disorder issues, you know what I'm saying, definitely has allowed her to act like she was that important around here. But at the end of the day, Anti is a fucking nobody, like, period, right? So it's like, why are we looking at Triggs as this powerful being who has all this control over people when, no, it's just, we just don't like you, Carrie, right? Like with Star, right? We just don't like you, Star. There's no conspiracy to take you down from anything, right? There's no conspiracy to remove you from any special position anywhere because you're not fucking special, okay? This the same shit with Carrie Ann. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Okay, we're not trying to remove you from anything. We don't care. You're welcome to stay in the sector. Nobody's trying to stop you from being here. Nobody's stomping all over you and all this other weird shit. These are y'all's fears. These are the things y'all are afraid of. Okay? These are the things that keep you up at night. Not everybody else in the sector. But I digress. Anyway, you said, hey, the beautiful. You said, make a change. That's non refundable. You said, Clark, here's some fake love. You said, okay, everybody just kind of talking to each other here. You said, Pete definitely stood on business, and he did. You said, I'm going to have a whole conversation with a friend and just use screen names on YouTube, see what they say. Right. That's crazy, right? It's like, yeah, and they were behind the scenes and make a change said, and then Joe the chat activist said, they're gonna be looking at you like, what? Like, what are you talking about right now? Nobody knows who you're talking about, what you're talking about, why you're talking about it, or any of that shit. Nobody knows. Nobody understands. Okay, but child, listen. You said, P, that's why you send it to me. So technically, it's not a refund. You said, Stephanie Collins. You said, hey, lady, sending some fake love back. Okay. You said, the beautiful Bernice. You said, she knew I was a white bitch. What did she expect? Okay. Like what? What did she expect? You said, damn, pre trolling so hard. She even fake coughing. Child, you know it. I got a fake cough. You said, Stephanie. You said, hey, queen. You said, raw, my bad about Simon. That was some bullshit. Yeah, Simon is a weirdo. I really don't like him at all. I don't like him. He's just weird. You said, has anyone looked at Sector Chat's page? LOL. There's a second lengthy post about Carrie on it. No, let me see. Let me find out. I always got to go to my subscriptions when I look at that page because for some reason, um, they don't come through like my community feed like that. But well, I'll say this. She don't come through my community feed like that. Okay. That is Carrie Ann's page, y'all. I don't know. I'm sorry. I have to say it. It is definitely her page. Okay, yep. So here we go. Miss Tpri. Yep. Okay. Miss Tpri is straight foul for this one. Let's not forget, she brought up Carrie's mental health struggles way before last week. That's why Triggs kept harping on it over and over. This is Carrie's story. This is what she's been telling y'all. That's why Triggs kept harping on it over and over. The timeline don't lie. He didn't just randomly say Carrie was manic. He was echoing exactly what T. Pre had already been whispering in the background. Triggs will tell y'all, I have never, ever, ever text Triggs, emailed Triggs. I don't even got Triggs' number. I have never emailed Triggs about Carrie's mental health. I've never had that conversation with him. Never, 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 never. But this is what Carrie's mindset, those ideologies, those immediate thoughts that she's just thinking whatever she's thinking in that black and white thinking, and she's just she's that in the box thinking that she has. Once she's set on a thought, she believes it. It just is what it is. And now she's acting like they believe this shit too. No, this is you, Carrie. Okay, this is all you. You said, what makes even more fake? T. Pre told Carrie to her face that she didn't even like Triggs. How would this person know anything that I've said to Carrie? Huh? Unless Carrie is the one writing this story, right? How would this person know what I have allegedly said to Carrie's face? How would they know that? Unless they're Carrie, right? Mhm. What makes it even more fake? T. Pre told Carrie to her face that she didn't even like Triggs. Fast forward, and suddenly she's all buddy buddy with him on panels, giving him fuel to clown Carrie. What fuel have I given him to clown Carrie? I'll wait. I'll wait. That's not just messy, that's snake behavior. And let's be real, alliances like this in the sector never last. Tpri and Trig's little friendship is built on gossip, backstabbing, and mutual convenience. The fallout is coming, and when it happens, it's going to be epic. Is it? Because me and Triggs don't have anything to fall out over. Like, we don't talk behind the scenes about nothing unless he's trying to make me an intro for something or something along those lines. The last time I did, I said to him, I don't have anything to do with you and Carrie Ann's beef. That's it. So what are me and Triggs supposed to epically fall out about? We don't have any mutual friendship. We don't have any mutual situation where we are working together. This is all a conspiracy, okay, that you have made up in your head, Carrie, to cope with the fact that Triggs and me don't want anything to do with you. Okay, that's what you have done. You have come up with this whole entire conspiracy in your mind, okay, in order for you to cope with the fact that people just simply don't want anything to do with you. That's what this is all about. It has nothing to do with me and him working together. There's no conspiracy to take you down, to do anything to you. This is all in your head, and you need help. Okay? Help that I can't give you, help that Triggs can't give you. That's what you need. Okay? He said, and let's okay, so she already said the part about that. The fallout is coming. It's going to be epic because if she could betray Carrie like that, what makes Triggs think he's safe? Now, see, just a week ago, it was Triggs was the one that was taking everybody down, and Triggs was the villain of the sector, right? And creating all these horrible things for everybody in the sector. Now it's Tpri. Now it's me that's the one that everybody's. I'm the boogeyman all of a sudden, right? Girl, you really, really need to get some mental help, okay? And you got one like on there. Shout out to you and you putting the like on there. But that's unfortunate, okay? The reason why nobody is backing you on any of this shit, Carrie, is because I always bring receipts, okay? I don't have to lie on anybody. I don't have to make up stuff about people. I don't have to pretend anything like that. I'm just going to tell you exactly like it is. And you don't have to like it, okay? But the only thing I ask is that you don't lie on me. Because when you lie on me, I'm always going to tell the truth about you. See, that's what happened with the Vixen Chronicles. That is why Breaking the Culture, aka Andrea Garrison, is still mad to this day. Okay, that's why every time she gets a chance, when she think I'm not around, or when she think I won't slap the shit out of her, she's this bitch. Her daughter don't like her. Her daughters hate her. All her kids hate her. She's on drugs. Her family this. Her family. Her mother. Everybody. That's why she does this, because I shared with the sector the truth about this woman. Okay. See, it didn't come from me. The Vixen Chronicles was not honestly built by me. Okay. It was built by people who already knew her, over in the church sector, over in the T sector, over in the beef sector, okay, who already knew Andrea Garrison, and they gave me her information, okay? Shout out to the people that did. Shout out to the Godfather D. Durrell, who was also able to provide me a lot of information about her. And, this was information that has been out about Breaking the Culture. Nothing in the Vixen Chronicles is new, okay? Most of it. I think there's might be one, a couple things here or there that was pertaining to me and her. But most of the stuff that's in the Vixen Chronicles is evidence of her being a terrible mother, her not raising her kids, her abandoning both of her children at a very young age, her children being old enough where they can actually come back in her life now, and she's just choosing not to be in their life. Instead, she's looking up my kids, looking up my mother, looking up I's kids, looking up Carrie Ann's mother and father, and looking up all these other people instead of looking up her own children, right? And dealing with her own situations. And so after our epic fallout and my epic, Vixen Chronicles on that ass, she's still pretty upset to this day over all of that. Understandable, but at some point, it's time for her to do the healing too and to get her shit together, because I really don't give a fuck about her emotions and feelings anymore. She's just going to have to, get over it at this point. Like I told her, when I get ready to talk about her mother, I will, right? But I'm waiting on this interview that she's supposed to be doing with my mother. That's what I'm waiting on, right? So once that happens, right, then we'll go ahead and do the interview about her mother, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see which one of these interviews is actually true. Okay, we'll see which one is actually true. So anyway, waiting on that. But either way, there was a lot of things that happened after the Vixen Chronicles, right? One of the things is that Braken had definitely wanted to take the focus off of me. Okay. She did not want to keep fighting with me. She did not want to keep, getting dragged by me and me putting all her fucking tea out here in these streets like I was, and letting everybody know what it was about her and the dungeon and the sex work and all the other things that was really going on with Braken. The check fraud, all the other things that were really happening with her. She really wanted to get away from me. So she got to arguing and fighting with Carrie Ann and going back and forth with her. And she started focusing, literally laser focusing on that. That's what these weirdos do with this type of conditions, right? They start laser focusing on something else so they can take the heat off of what they've been arguing about. So she got to coming for Carrie, and at the time, me and Carrie wasn't really cool. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really, hanging out with Carrie and stuff. But she was coming for Carrie Ann, and she started coming for her job. And it wasn't just her; it was all the AFWs. Don't y'all remember that? That when all the AFWs were coming after Carrie Ann's job, and they were trying to attack her job, they were trying to get her fired and stuff like that, and there was a bunch of stuff going on, right? So at the time, and the reason that I'm bringing this up, guys, is because Carrie Ann has now been saying that she believes I was lying about breaking the culture, which I think everybody knows, obviously. Like I said, the information about her, this is actual concrete evidence that has already come out about her years ago in other sectors, and it's just happened to come to our sector. So we all know I didn't tell lies about her. I posted actual proof. I actually posted links. I posted everything. I had the Christian Post. I had everything on there to prove what was actually happening with her. Carrie knows that that's true. But either way, I want Carrie to remember why her and Braken had a problem to begin with, because what Carrie has been trying to tell you guys is that I have been trying to sick Carrie Ann on breaking the culture, right? Like I was trying to use Carrie as my lapdog to come after Breaking, to fight Breaking on my behalf, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what? Well, you know what? I said, let me go through these archives because I know I got some archives on this because Carrie was the one asking me for Breaking's information. I never said, girl, can you come after Breaking for me? Here go her shit. I need you to go after her. I got $8,000. Okay, that's another $8,000 challenge. Okay, since we doing $8,000 challenges over here, I got another $8,000 for when Carrie can prove that I was asking her to come after Breaking the Culture. Not prove that I sent you some information on the bitch, but prove that I asked you to come for breaking the culture. Because see, I can prove, okay? I can actually prove that you asked me to come for breaking the culture. hmm See, we're gonna read that right now, okay? And let's go ahead and have a quick 30-second break so I can grab my water, and then we are going to get right into this right now. All right. So I'll tell you guys, one of the things I really, really hate, right, is when somebody lies on me. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when I can prove that you're lying. You understand what I mean? Like, I don't like to show text messages. I don't like to show emails and stuff like that because I feel like that's some police type shit, to be honest. I really don't like that type of shit. That's not my type thing. Okay. But what you're not going to fucking do is lie on me and tell people things that aren't true, especially when I can actually see you going down a very destructive path with this lie that you're telling. Because I have to remind you, Carrie, of just how badly those people wanted to destroy your life, right? And still do. See, they're not your friend, okay? They have no interest in fucking with you. They have no interest in being your pal and being your buddy. No, what they're going to do is try their best to destroy your life. They're not done with you. Anti will never forget. Breaking will never forget. Okay? They're going to do everything they can to take you down. When we're talking about taking down people, these are the people that actually be trying to do that shit for no reason at all. You don't deserve what they did. what they tried to do. And it's not that they even got you fired, because they didn't get you fired, but they did get you transferred. They got you transferred to a school you did not want to work for. And that's unfortunate what happened to you. You were at a place at this school where you could actually walk to work, where it was very convenient for you. And that inconvenience went out the window because of these very treacherous people. So at that particular point, that really, really did change your life. It changed the trajectory that your life was going in. And that's fucked up. But to allow this to continue to be a crash out for you, and to let these people completely get under your skin enough to completely destroy you, is asinine and is sickening. And I'm going to remind you today of what really happened, and whether or not I was the one that asked you to come for break-in. Let me take a look at y'all comments real quick, and then I will get back into that. You said, has anyone looked at sexist? Okay, we already did that one. You said, hey, the beautiful. You said, what about Simon? Girl, he's weird. You said, Ray, right. Simon burned his bridge. You said, Breaking got the receipts, those ARWs, right? AFWs, right? You said, I need to start charging folks $5 for every time to say my name to add credence to your argument without my consent. I agree. I need to do the same thing. You said, don't worry, Raw. We checked his ass. You said, look, you said, let me look, YM. You said, hey to Dr. Nikki. You said, listen, I just woke up. Hey, Jessica Rabbit and Dr. Nikki, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, hey to Ebu. Okay, you said Dr. Nikki. You said visuals, girl. You said I haven't gone to the page, but I've been watching Sector Wars. The clips with Oracle talking about her is hilarious, and that is from 3 years ago. Right. Facts. You said, hey to Dr. Nikki. You said Breaking got the receipts. These are facts. You said we ain't going to see them, but she got them, and these are facts. Okay. You said, hey, the sis. You said, hey, Ebu, Tpri P, Joe Raw B, everybody chatting mods. You said, hey to Dr. Nikki Duchess. Okay, so everybody's just kind of speaking to each other. You said, Clark, yeah, Sector Wars won a bet she made about smoking weed. See, now see, I didn't even want to bring that one up, right? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't even want to bring that one up, but that is a prime example of when Carrie told the sector she smokes weed. Okay, I'm not making that up. That is not something I lied about. That is not something I said. That is something she told the sector, and it's still on Sector Wars to this fucking day. You said, hey, Dr. Nikki. You said, Jesus wept, child. You said, Breaking knows what happened, and you. These are facts, okay? As long as she yells it, it's a fact, okay? Hey, Shakem. You said, hey, chat lives, appreciate you. You said, I can make the proof for y'all, for all of y'all, for 4,000 each, okay? We all can make the proof for $8,000, right? Shit. Hey, Divine, appreciate you. And visuals, you said Steph Collins. Hey, how are you? You said Chat Queen, beautiful Clark, Jesus wept. You said Dr. Nikki. You said delusions of grandeur is the only explanation. Exactly. You said Shakim. You said I am taking my braids down, but I will not be reusing them. Please do not reuse your braids. And if you do that, you're supposed to treat the hair. You're supposed to wash the hair. That's how you end up with lice and stuff. That's just disgusting. Okay, girl, you need $8,000. You need to keep that $8,000 and get your hair done. That's what you need to do. Okay, that's what you need to do. You said, hey, the divine. You said visuals. When they popped up, I couldn't stop watching. The Oracle is gold and definitely is. You said, Stephanie. You said, spot 'em. You said, is it really true she was reusing bundles? Because, yes. And you know what? I had to go look myself because I didn't believe that either. I was like, they lying on Carrie. Sometimes they be having these little hate trains out for Carrie. But yeah, she really was taking the braid out. You know how like you have a braid already on your natural hair. She was taking the synthetic hair out, whatever it was, and then rebraiding that right back in without washing her hair, without conditioning her hair, without doing anything. I had told Carrie about Jamaican black castor oil a few weeks ago, and told her all you need to moisturize, because I had saw her hair was really dry, and I had told her, I said, just use some Jamaican black castor oil and some water and just brush it, right? You just keep doing that, and make yourself a hot oil treatment, and you should be good to go. And I don't know if she did it or not. It don't look like she did. If she did, she might have did it once. She said she did it, but I couldn't tell. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about her hair. But yeah, girl, you need to she need to watch that shit for sure. You said she just a geriatric AARP troll. Word. You said we still going. Yeah, we almost done now. You said, Ray, I think I might push the cabal narrative. Just giving you a heads up. You know what, P? You and your narratives, man. You said, Sel. You said, hey, Teresa, I appreciate you being in the building. Illuminati Tigs ain't shit, respectfully, okay? And ain't. You said, Sister Yvette was good. You said, hey to Clark. Everybody saying hi to each other. You said Vigil's old braid hair is nasty. It really is. Like there's so many nasty things that you pick up in hair. You know what I mean? And when you do take it out, if you take it out, you're supposed to wash it and condition it really well so it doesn't break off back, because our hair is naturally dry as black people. And so it can break off and stuff like that. And then you have more issues, especially the older we get. So you really gotta, take good time to take good care of your hair. I had done a hair care video, a couple hair care videos. It wasn't because I have bad self esteem. It's actually because I'm like, yo, this is what black people are supposed to be doing. Okay. We're supposed to be conditioning and doing a hot oil treatment and doing all those things and putting protective styles on it and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. You said hit the like for the chocolate star. I appreciate that, Pills. You said, hey to my opinion. Everybody's speaking to each other. You said, I just saw the medical records on Raw's video. Lord have child, Shaquille. Shakem. And thank you for sharing. Everybody that shared, Smoke God shared, Shakem shared, everybody that shared the show. Divine, I appreciate y'all for sharing the comment that I made yesterday. Um, and now you know what I'm talking about, Shakem, about the trichomonas testing and about, all the other shit. Hold on, let me look and see what I had put. It was trichomonas testing. It was, let's see. um, missed medications, itching and rashes, social worker commentaries, missed medication, pregnancy tests, all the STD tests that she had to take. Like it was all these STD tests for somebody that's a celibate person. I don't even understand. Like your doctor don't believe you? Like what's going on right now? I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, child. All while she asking other people to come check they pussy. Like, girl. Mm-mm, mm-mm. But anyway, you said beautiful. I hope y'all was just clowning about reusing of old hair. No, she really was doing it on video. It's on video. She was literally doing that shit on video, child. Like reusing the same old fucking hair. It was sad. That's sick. You said YouTube unfolded gag, child. Okay. He said, break and talk to an army of Victor Cousins victims, students from Carrie Ann's school, Pre's mom, Trig's cousins, and these are all facts, okay? And she can prove it too, but she won't. These are facts, okay? Exactly. Everything is a fact with breaking the culture, even though she never proves anything. She just runs around speaking to everybody's family members, and everybody's family wants to speak to her. And just because she can dox them and say what their name is, now everybody spoke to her and all this stuff. Girl, sit the fuck down. Go dox your kids. How about that? That's what you need to go do. Go dox Aiden and go dox Michael. That's what you need to do. When you get them on your podcast, that's when I'll talk to you about being a parent. How about that? Okay. You said I need to wash my hair. Oops. Okay. You said this remix can. Hey, you said can you unblock my main page, please and thanks. Who got you blocked, remix? Okay, I'll have to do that after the show, but I got you. I ain't know you was blocked. But yeah, I got you. You said pills, hey darling. You said visuals. She did her online and that hair is cheap. Child, child. That was really sad. You said asked to be unblocked. I got y'all. I got to do it after the show though because I don't even know where he would be blocked at. You said Ray is diabolical. You said pills. You said pills de Prince. You said any sane person can see what is happening here. Exactly. You said P. What is you replying to Carrie saying you and her talk talking about making a fake breaking the culture page. Yeah, because she was planning on doing that, and I'm going to show you guys the proof of that right now. I'm actually going to show you guys how long she had been wanting to do this. Okay, this is nothing new. This is just something that like Carrie is kind of procrastinates things, and so she might take a period of time to actually do it. I'm gonna let her elaborate even further and show y'all when I sent her some shit. Okay. But yeah, I did. I actually told she actually asked for it, and you guys are gonna see that in just a moment. You said you know you crazy when you need a troll account to repeat the same stuff you already said on your main account. Okay, child. You said I've been using the word manic for 2 years on her. Okay, it's like this conspiracy though that I said manic and now you said manic. That means because we're behind the scenes saying, yeah, Carrie Ann is manic. Like what? What are you talking about, Carrie? It is clear as day that you're manic. Nobody needs to be talking about it and conspiring about that behind the scenes to see that you're manic, okay? Because it's so clear as day that you are. Like it's plain as day that something is wrong, okay? Not anything else but be wrong. Literally. That's what we can see here. You said words are free in the dictionary, okay? You said after those pages got revealed, she still posted on it like it wasn't her. I mean, come on, like we can't, like we don't know that sector chat is you, Carrie, right? Like we don't know that the Reverend G topic page is you, Carrie. Like it's clear, it's plain. And that page, both of those pages, only she actually has control of those pages. Nobody else has control over them. She might have had people that were sending her information for those pages, but she was the only and sole responsible provider of those pages. Okay, period. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that knows that. You said, beautiful salute, queen. You said, hey, the beautiful, hilarious child. You said, third person projecting at his finest. Okay. Child, just saying. You said we don't like the motherfucking trees, okay? You said, Pre, what is your response to Carrie saying you and her were talking about making a fake breaking the culture page? I'm about to show you guys now about that. I'm about to show you guys the how that started, when she asked for this information, and how that got started. Okay, and then I'm gonna let her elaborate, and then if I got to show the email of me actually sending her shit, I will. But yeah, but we're going to see who actually started this and whether or not I am the one that was asking her to do this, because that's also what she said, make a change. She's been saying that I was the one trying to make her my lapdog and make her go after breaking the culture. That was what she really said. But we about to find out if that's really happened or not. Break and pull up a seat because you about to find out, bitch. Okay. You said Divine Seven. You said, we've said it yesterday, we say it today, and we'll say it tomorrow too. Okay. You said, hello to my opinion. You said, Mac, that was her and me. You said, epic fallouts happen in the sector and adults have moved on. Exactly. Like, what the fuck? You said, damn, she can see the future. Okay. You said, Mac, that was a good question. You're probably about to get kicked out of this chat. No, why would you say that? You said, Prizzle, it can't be that simple. Okay. You said, look at make a change saying stuff off the phones, but want to know what was said on the phone now. Okay. You said, beautiful. She has a Palantir. You said, Triggs. You said, exactly, sis. You said, all I got is one like. One fucking like. You said, I talked to her mama. Child, we all talk to everybody's mama. I talked to Breaking's mama too. Okay. We all talking to each other mamas out here. Okay, shit. Anyway, hold on. Let me hurry up and get through this, y'all, because I really do Want to get to the bottom of this and then get off of this show. You said breaking shit been out here. Thank you. I'm just saying, like, I didn't make none of that shit up. You said her conspiracy to run Victor Cousins' life and take his freedom if he wanted to talk about conspiracies. You said visuals. Did Pre talk about that already? The breaking page, the anti page, the Rev G page. I don't know. I thought she mentioned it in the first video, I think, but I could be wrong. So I'm about to talk about how the breaking page was supposed to start. Because she's out here telling y'all that I was trying to get her to come after breaking the culture. So since she's telling y'all that, then I can show y'all what she really said and what really happened. You said, wait, what a interview. And she's saying this has been recent, right? She's saying, well, she didn't say what time frame, but she did say that that's what the whole thing was all about. When really it wasn't about any of that. We said, Clark, no, not my knowledge, but make a change wants to know too. So true. You say, y'all, I got a confession, breaking interview. My cousin Timmy, the meth head, he has brain damage with a meth fueled accident he had with a rope. He spilled the tea, y'all. Oh no. He said, I always said I think Carrie was an AFW. I don't know. He said, honestly, I don't think you needed her help. I would never need her help to do anything to anybody. Anybody I want to come for, anybody whose ass I want to kick, I would never need any of y'all to help me with that. Just to let y'all know. Okay. In case y'all didn't know. Okay. Now you know. You don't need me. Okay. I don't need you at all. I'm definitely going to handle that myself. And I might need some information or something like that, but I am not going to ask you to come after anybody from me. And that's just that. You said Pitbull and Rottweiler mix. You said you don't need others to do what you do well. Exactly. Okay, which is whoop ass. Okay, period. Period. You said Carrie AFW. I can't see that. Yeah, I don't know about that either. I just think that she's just so delusional right now that she's just crashing out and all over the place. And she doesn't realize how bad these AFWs want her to be doing exactly what she's doing. She's playing right into their game right now and she's about to crash out all the fucking way. And so I'm going to go ahead and remind her before she completely crashes out and loses everything the way that they want her to. I'm going to remind her of why she wanted breaking shit to begin with. Okay. You said breaking chopped and screwed that tape and got sent to the school district. The enemy of your enemy ain't your friend, Carrie. Don't fall for the okey doke. Exactly. Okay. But we about to see. We about to see. You said not a break. Oh Lord. Okay. We about to get into it, y'all. We about to get into it. About to get into it. All right. So let me go ahead get to the bottom of here because we're just getting all that. I will never get through all these comments if I don't. Hey QT, I appreciate you being in the building. And Yollywood, I appreciate you, Diva, for being in the building today. Child, we talking about some hot humor topics today. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and look at this first one here. Let me look at this first one. And I am going to turn off my camera so you guys can see what we're looking at here. All right, so let's first read the first one here. So this message, guys, is a email that Carrie Ann sent me on October 4th, 2023. Okay. Now this is how long ago, guys, this information was requested about breaking the culture of silence. And you guys are going to see why and everything. Okay. And then I'm going to show you guys what my response was to her. Because like I said, I don't mind showing y'all. You know I don't fuck with breaking. You know I done dogged that bitch the fuck out, okay? And I did that a whole year prior to this, okay? So again, breaking, it has been 3 years since I've whooped your motherfucking ass, okay? And what you're not gonna do is be, playing games and pretending that, I have recently done something to you and you have a reason to still be mad unless what I said about you is the truth, okay? And instead of you doxing my family, you need to be out here doxing your own kids, okay? And looking for them and wondering what they had for breakfast and wondering what they had for lunch and for dinner and where they sleep, okay? And whose house they live in. That's what you need to be doing, breaking. Not worried about my family. Because my family doing just fine. Every time you dox them, you can see they're doing just fine. So anyway, let's go ahead and read these messages. Hey, now mind you again, October 4th, 2023, from Carrie Ann. Hey, first, thank you so much for all the support recently. I'm almost certain my job isn't in jeopardy, but I won't really relax until the process is over and I'm back doing the work I love. It means a lot to me, and it says a lot that people could disagree with me and still care about my well being. Even if by some circumstance I lost my job, having good people write letters and make videos will always be a positive memory for me. I don't know when they're going to call me in for the investigation, but I would like to have some things to show them. I have hard drives full of AAS's harassment and Shakim's deplorable behavior, but I don't have anything on breaking. Nobody can be bothered to watch her. LOL. However, I know you did a series exposing her. Do you have any video clips of her? However, I know you did a series exposing her. Do you have any video clips of her being colorist? In particular, the clip where she said her hair was better than yours, or that when she said slavery was our karmic debt. Again, thank you so much for your help and support. Sometimes I get carried away. What was my response to her? October 4th, 2023. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have all of these clips on a playlist called The Vixen Chronicles. I will go through them and provide you with specific points within these videos. Meantime, feel free to check it out. I am glad to know you are doing well. Everything will work out as you haven't done anything to deserve this. She will meet her karma. Tpri. So, does this look like me trying to make Carrie Ann come after breaking the culture? Or is this me saying, sure, I'll send you some information that's already public on my YouTube page about breaking? And again, I'm going to let her elaborate on this story, okay? Because she actually never did anything about breaking from this time. It was this year when she created the Rev G page and the Sector Chat page that she was finally ready to come after Breakin with an actual page, and she was finally ready to come after Anti with an actual page. Because now that she's settled, she's not working, she's not at any of those jobs, she has the time. And so she recently again started asking me for information about breaking because she was going to create a separate page on her. Not me asking her to do this, not me asking her to come after her. No, no, no. Carrie Ann never forgot about what any of you AFWs have done to her. I am the one that talked her out of doing this to you, Shakim, because she wanted to do this to you too. I talked her out of it. And the reason I talked her out of it is because I felt like she needed to move on from it because you haven't been coming for her. They still were coming for her. Anti still coming for her. Rev G still coming for her. Break is still coming for her. But you're not coming for her no more. And I told her at some point she had to move on. And we had an argument about that. See, y'all don't understand how many times I have actually fallen out with Carrie Ann. How many times I have actually said to her, it's time to move on from situations, right? Because it's not healthy to keep going back and forth over situations that you don't actually have to go back and forth over, right? Sometimes she doesn't know how to move on. And she was really, really angry at me for not acknowledging that Shakem tried to ruin her life. And I told her, okay, I get that. I understand why you're upset, right? But I don't know about, you know, contacting his family to tell them that he's gay. I don't know about doing stuff like that, right? I don't know if that is going to be productive for you because at some point when you start trying to get back at people and you're trying to, get back at situations, you end up hurting yourself without looking at the full picture of things, which is something that I think that, she has a hard time doing at times. So, no, I hope this answers your question. I had no intentions of her going after Breaking for me. She wanted to go after Breaking for herself because of what Breaking did to her job. That is it and that is all. And Carrie, perhaps you forgot what Breaking did to your job and why your students were online and why your school was online and why you were out of work for a whole year, right? Until you went back. And then after you went back, it was so unbearable, the school you were at, you couldn't deal with it no more. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil before you jump back into the fire with these people who have done nothing but try to destroy your fucking life. You need to get off your high horse and you need to look at the facts because the facts are you wanted their information. As you said here, the plethora of information you have on Anti and Shakim, you didn't have anything on Break It. And you were running around, not only to me either, gathering information on her. You know this to be true? And I got $8,000 if you can prove the opposite. I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I do appreciate everything that you guys do to support the show. Let me go ahead and go over y'all comments real quick. Child, juicy, juicy. Juicy, juicy. You said, Triggs, when I hit your link, I need my own join to let them know I'm here. Yes, we got to get Diva one. We got to get Diva one. You said, hey, QT, I appreciate you coming in the building. Child. You said, I always got you, Queen. You said, Ray Triggs, thank you. Still long. You said, her name literally speaks to her behavior. Okay, sometimes she gets carried away. She literally gets carried away. Okay. It don't make no damn sense. You said she would have been given a playlist and have to watch it. She would have been given playlists and have to watch it all. You said Clark, you hitting up something good this weekend. You going, child? I'll be going out tonight. I'm actually leaving tonight. So I'll be back on, I think I'll be back Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. I'll figure it out, but this will be my last vacation for the week, for the summer. You said, and these will be the very same people you will hook up with, and somebody will invariably ask this question again. Okay. You said, Carrie says that she made the templates for the web pages, but she didn't want to move forward, even though you told her to do it, since you know how to make web pages. What? So y'all can see for yourself. No, I did not ask her. I did not initiate this. I have not requested this. This is something that Carrie asked for, and she started this back in 2023. It just never came to fruition because Carrie doesn't. She doesn't really complete projects. There's sometimes she'll start a project and she won't complete it or whatever, Yeah, so she's been asking for this for a long fucking time. I don't know what she's talking about. She had plans on making YouTube channels to the same way she tried with the Rev G one. Y'all know that that's her now. So yeah, she was going to do the same thing with Anti, and she was going to do the same thing with Breaking. And she was in the process of gathering all that information for Breaking. I had just sent her some stuff a couple months ago. You said, got him. Okay, just saying. Now you see, make a change. Okay. I mean, like I said, y'all can let her lie to y'all all day, but I'm going to show y'all the evidence of things. When you say stuff and that I can show proof of, girl, I'm gonna show that you're a liar. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. You said, Clark, you just better be safe, lady. Yes, yes. You said, I think this is the anniversary of Carrie getting smeared on the news. Wasn't it around Labor Day? It was around that time. around that time. I don't know the exact dates of when those things happened, but it was definitely all around the same time because some of us in the sector were writing letters for her to the school. I had done a series of videos on the situation, and me and Carrie weren't even cool at the time. You know what I mean? But I had done a series of videos because I was so disgusted with what was going on, and that's when she sent me this email. So again, is it me getting you to come after Breaking, or were you asking me for information on Breaking so you can expose her? Which one is it? So you can have something to fight with, right? Let's see. And you wanted to make fucking pages about them. You said YM, not another jot forms, child. You said, QT, please don't. They go overboard every year, always with gunshots. You said, see everyone around the halls or the clouds. Yes, guys. I hope now Triggs, I know you're going live tonight. I'll probably be able to see a portion of it, but I will be leaving like around 8 or so. So I don't know if I'll be there throughout the whole show. But I do hope that you have a great show, Triggs. You said Clark party before a funeral. You ain't shat pool all weekend and cooking for me, okay? Everybody saying hey to each other. You said Triggs will do. Appreciate you, sir. All right, y'all. So I think we are out of here. You said I don't do well at funerals. I know. I'm so sorry that that happened to you, Clark. Thank y'all. I appreciate that. And like I said, I always bring the facts. I'm not going to be out here, making up shit and just saying stuff because I just feel like it. And, I just feel like disrespected and all this other stuff. He said, damn, so is Rev holding another L for misidentifying someone? Child. Mm-mm-mm. All right, y'all. Well, I do appreciate everybody for being in the building. Man, hey, Keeper, I appreciate you being in the building. And make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out. And guys, I will see you guys soon. And peace, guys. Thank y'all again for watching.